when strength feels different. Ellen stands in her kitchen just after waking up. The house is quiet. Before the coffee is ready, she notices she needs an extra second before taking her first step. Nothing hurts. It just feels heavier than it used to. That evening, Rick rises from the sofa to turn off the lights. He pauses, waiting for his balance to settle, like his body needs a moment to catch up. These are small moments, easy to brush off. They show up again the next day, and the next. Many people quietly wonder if this is simply what happens with age, or if it is something worth paying attention to. What often gets missed is that the body isn't failing. It's responding differently than it used to. Muscle loss after 60 often doesn't arrive all at once. It tends to show up through subtle changes in how muscles receive signals, how blood moves through them, and how well they recover. It's a bit like a familiar home that still stands strong but reacts differently to the weather over time. In this video, we'll take a calm look at why these changes often happen and what they can be a sign of. No promises, no pressure, just a clearer understanding. So you can decide for yourself what's worth noticing. You didn't stop moving. Your muscles stopped hearing the signal. Michael is 68 and still walks most days. He lives on his own, keeps a steady routine, and hasn't made any big changes on purpose. But lately, there's a small pause at the bottom of the stairs. Not pain, not fear, just a moment where his legs don't respond as quickly as they used to. He stands there, steadying himself, then moves on. It's easy to assume this means laziness or a lack of exercise. Many people blame themselves first. What's often happening instead is quieter. The message from the brain to the muscle isn't coming through as clearly as it once did. Think of an older house with original wiring. The power is still there. The lights still turn on. But sometimes there's a brief delay when you flip the switch. After 60, muscle loss often shows up like this. Not all at once, but during everyday movements you've done for years. Standing up from a chair, stepping off a curb, starting to walk after sitting for a while. The muscle hasn't disappeared. The signal just arrives a little slower or a little weaker. This helps explain why movement can feel uncertain even if you're still active. You may walk regularly and keep busy, yet your legs don't respond with the same confidence. That doesn't mean something is wrong. It often happens as the nervous system and muscles communicate differently with age. Why does this matter after 60? Muscles rely on clear signals to stay engaged. When those signals fade, even slightly, muscles can begin to do less work without you realizing it. Over time, this can be a sign of muscle loss after 60, not because you stopped moving, but because your body now needs more intentional cues than it once did. There's something encouraging here. Muscles often respond when signals become clearer again. Small, deliberate movements. Take a second to feel your footing before stepping forward, letting your body reconnect before rushing ahead. These aren't dramatic changes. They simply support how your body works now. If this feels familiar, there's another quiet factor that often plays a role. Some people choose to notice it, others move on. In the next part, we'll look at why recovery and rest can make such a difference. Muscle loss often starts with sleep, not exercise. Frank is 73. He goes to bed at a reasonable hour and usually sleeps through the night. Most mornings look the same. He sits on the edge of the bed, feet on the floor, and waits a moment before standing. His legs feel heavy, not sore, just slow. Even after a night that felt restful, his body seems to need extra time to get going. Many people think of sleep as time completely off. Once you've rested, movement should feel easy again. But after 60, sleep plays a different role. It's not just rest. It's when the body quietly repairs and prepares muscles for the next day. A helpful way to picture this is charging a phone overnight. You plug it in, and everything looks fine. But if the connection is loose, it never quite reaches a full charge. The phone still turns on. It still works. It just doesn't feel ready for a long day. Muscle recovery can work the same way as we age. After 60, muscles don't rebuild as quickly during sleep as they once did, even on nights that feel restful. Blood flow slows down, signals that support repair are released in smaller amounts. The result usually isn't pain. It's a lack of readiness. Muscles feel present, but not fully refreshed. This can help explain why someone can sleep 7 or 8 hours and still wake up feeling unsteady, or why the first few steps of the day feel harder than expected. It's not a failure of effort. It often happens because recovery now needs a little more support than it used to. Why does this matter? When muscles don't recover well overnight, they start each day slightly behind. Over time, this can be a sign of muscle loss after 60, not through sudden decline, but through small daily gaps that quietly add up. The reassuring part is that recovery is something the body may still respond to. Gentle evening routines, consistent sleep timing, allowing a calmer transition into rest. These aren't extreme changes. They simply support how your body restores itself now. Some people shrug this off, others want to understand it better. There's another daily factor that often helps explain why doing everything right still doesn't feel like enough. That's what we'll look at next. When blood flow doesn't arrive on time. Donna is 70. In the morning, she stands at the sink washing dishes, then steps into the bathroom to get ready. After a few quiet minutes of standing still, her legs start to feel tired, not weak, just uncomfortable, like they've reached their limit sooner than they used to. She shifts her weight, takes a breath, and waits for the feeling to pass before moving on. It's easy to think this means the muscle itself is failing, but often, something quieter is happening. Muscles rely on steady blood flow to bring them oxygen and nutrients, especially during simple moments like standing in one place. When that flow arrives more slowly, muscles can feel heavy or drained, even without much effort. A helpful way to picture this is an older plumbing system. The pipes still work, water still comes out of the faucet, but it doesn't rush in the same way it once did. After 60, blood may not reach the muscles as quickly, particularly when you're standing still or changing positions. The muscle is ready to work. The fuel just arrives a little late. This can explain why standing feels harder than walking. Once you're moving, circulation picks up, and your legs may feel better. But when you stop, that steady supply slows again. It's not a lack of effort. It often happens because circulation changes with age, and muscles notice that shift first. Why does this matter? Think about those small moments that repeat every day. Standing at the counter, waiting in line, pausing in the shower. When muscles don't get what they need right away, they may begin doing a little less work over time. That can be a sign of muscle loss after 60, not through sudden weakness, but through many brief moments of fatigue that quietly add up. The encouraging part is that circulation often responds to gentle movement. Shifting your weight, taking short breaks from standing still, letting your legs warm up before asking more of them. These aren't dramatic changes, they simply support how blood moves through your body now. If this sounds familiar, there's one more daily habit that often affects how muscles feel, especially for people who stay active and eat well but still notice changes. Some people ignore these moments. Others choose to understand them. That's what we'll look at next. Eating well, but muscles use it differently. Pat is 72 and cooks most of her meals at home. Breakfast is steady. Lunch is light. Dinner is planned. Most evenings, she sits at the table, then pushes herself up from the chair. Lately, that first movement takes more effort than it used to. Not dramatic, just a quiet pause where her body seems to think before responding. Many people in their 60 seconds and 70 seconds assume this means they aren't eating enough protein, so they add a little more. Another egg in the morning, a larger portion at dinner. But often, the question isn't how much you eat, it's how your body uses it now. A simple way to picture this is a motion sensor light. When it's new, it turns on the moment you walk by. As it gets older, you have to step closer before it reacts. After 60, muscles can work in a similar way. The food may be there, the muscle may be there, but the signal that tells the muscle to use that fuel isn't always as strong as it once was. This helps explain why someone can eat well and still feel weaker. When you eat, when you move, and how often your muscles are asked to work start to matter more. Without clear cues, muscles may do a little less with what they're given. Over time, that can be a sign of muscle loss after 60, not because of poor habits, but because the body's response has changed. That doesn't mean you need to overhaul your diet. This often happens as part of normal aging. Muscles simply become more selective about when they engage. Gentle movement before meals, spreading food more evenly throughout the day, giving your body a reason to use what you're feeding it. These are small adjustments that support how your body works now. If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right but not getting the response you expect, you're not alone. Some people stop here. Others find it helpful to see how all these pieces connect. There's one final part that brings everything together, if you'd like to keep going. Your body is still responding, just differently now. Ken is 74. In the late afternoon, he stands near the front door, shoes already on. He pauses before stepping outside, not because he's unsure, but because he's learned to give his body a moment. That pause wasn't something he planned, it's something he noticed over time. And instead of fighting it, he started paying attention. Many people hear about muscle loss after 60 and assume it means decline is unavoidable, that once strength fades, it's gone for good. But what we've seen throughout this video is something quieter and more realistic. The body isn't shutting down, it's adapting. Signals travel differently. Blood flow arrives on a new schedule. Recovery takes a bit more care. Food is used in a more selective way. None of this means your body has stopped working. It means it now responds best when the conditions are right. Think of it like driving an older car you know well. You don't floor the gas anymore. You listen to the engine. You warm it up. You've learned how it responds, and because of that, it still gets you where you need to go. The body works much the same way. This is why small adjustments matter more than big promises. Pausing before you move, letting circulation catch up, giving muscles clear reasons to engage, supporting rest instead of rushing past it. These aren't dramatic changes, they're quiet choices that support how your body functions now. There's no guarantee, no quick fix, and no need to be perfect. But many people find that when they stop fighting their body and start working with it, things feel more manageable, more predictable, sometimes even steadier. If parts of this video felt familiar, that's worth noticing. You don't have to act on everything right away. You can simply observe, see what shows up in your own day, and decide, at your own pace, what feels worth adjusting. If you'd like to keep exploring how the body changes with age, and what may help support it along the way, you're welcome to stay connected here. We'll keep having these conversations, one small piece at a time.